let's turn this down.
All right, 6 o'clock. Call the meeting to order for June Grayson County Board of Supervisors meeting. Mr. Smith, you'll lead us in the invocation.
Father, thank you for today. Thank you for this time. We can come together and do county business. Thank you for this board of supervisors that serves the will. Thank you for the displaced citizens that care about what's going on in the county. They're here tonight. Praise be with each one of us in your name. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thanks everybody for coming tonight. I'd like to remind everybody of the decorum. It's on the back of the agenda. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to change the agenda.
I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda and add under new business, consideration of HB 1902, which bans the use of expanded polystyrene by food vendors by the Department of Education. And I would also like to move to remove the closed session.
Second. Motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. First thing on the agenda this evening is a public hearing to receive public comment on proposed amendment to the FY 24-25 budget. Mr. Borlaug, entertain a motion to go into closed session. To go into public hearing. Second. A motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You want to talk about this real quick?
Sure, I can talk about this. In your packet, you should have a spreadsheet with the with budget transfers on it. It's transfer budget amendment on it. We actually have a total of $1 million in the general fund, but an offsetting revenue of $600,000, so we're increasing the overall cost to the county by $400,000, which includes $33,000 in the treasurer's office, $4,000 in the circuit court judge office, $10,000 for the BJCCA department, $8,500 for the Commonwealth attorney, $60,000 for the care of prisoners, $150,000 for refuse collection, $20,000 for recycling department, $300,000 for the Department of Social Services, and $500,000 in CSA expenditures, Comprehensive Services Act. We also have $125,000 that we're appropriating in the opioid fund, and $970,000 in the emergency fund, which was basically donations that were collected and contributions after Hurricane Helene. We still have expenditures that haven't been fully expended in the general fund, so I'm imagining that $400,000 net cost to the general fund will actually be offset by some other departments. Any questions?
So, I'm still trying to grasp what we got going here. So it still looks like it, with your total expenditures and your revenue, you're still in a deficit. Is that coming out of the general fund?
Yes.
And is that,
We will
is
have,
150,000 of that a hurricane cleanup that we think we might get paid back on?
there is going to be some money that we received back for the hurricane disaster. We don't know if it's gonna be within this fiscal year, but we know that we have expenditures related to that that were in this year.
I was looking at the, budget that I'm sorry, were you done?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Chair, if I may. I was looking at the budget that we published in the paper, and I just had one question. I meant to catch you before the meeting. I'm sure this will be quick. The, emergency operations, 200, looks like there's 200,000 increase from what we published in the paper. Is that, where was that? Where did that come from?
So this budget amendment is for 24-25.
It's just 100,000, I'm sorry,
This budget amendment is for 24-25. Are you asking a question? on-
from the posted budget for 25-26 to this one.
So these amendments,
This is just
the current fiscal
adjusted
year,
to last year.
Okay, so we're not talking about changes in incentive.
We're not on the next budget yet. This is the old budget.
Okay, sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Hold that thought.
anything beyond a percent requires a public hearing to have.
Gotcha, yeah.
So the public can weigh in on
Okay.
anything about the changes, and so we had those changes. One of the interesting things that Mickey said, and I've seen, is that Carroll, some other counties, other localities will publish a budget with the school budget.
Mhm.
And so they may have to go through these hoops as much as
We do.
our county does, but we certainly want to make sure the public's aware of the results of the place.
Okay, thanks, Nikki.
Anything else? Have any speakers?
No.
Entertain motion to come out of public hearing.
Second.
Motion second, all those in favor signify by saying aye. I'm also aye. Next, we have, Ms. Sarah Hash Trimble.
Stand by. You need action on this.
Oh. I need a motion to approve the budget.
Roll
So
call.
moved.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Hash?
Aye.
Mr. Cornett? Aye. Ms. Thomas?
Aye.
I'm also aye. Ms. Sarah Hash Trimble?
I just have a small request about delinquent real estate taxes. Currently now, we send them to TACS when they become 3 years delinquent. Some legislation has changed and we can now send them at 2 years and give the taxpayers an opportunity to work with TACS to come up with a payment arrangement or a way to keep them from getting further behind instead of going immediately at 3 years to go to tax sale process. So I just need your all's okay to do that. Pretty simple. I sent the email, Mitchell is the only one that responded.
No, yeah, we saw it. Thank you.
I read it, and it looks like it'd be a benefit. I know the longer somebody's let out, once you get past the 2-year end of the 3rd year, you're talking about more. And it looks like from your letter that it appears that a struggling property owner could.
Yeah, there are payment options out there and ways that they can work with them more. We don't have the manpower or the time to reach out to everybody. We do what we can. It doesn't cost us anything to use this, so I just have to ask for y'all's approval, please.
You just need a motion to approve.
Please.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
I was second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm also aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we get to register speakers and public comment, part of the meeting. Okay, first up, we have Jeannie Hash. Second, we have Star Anderson.
Hi, everybody. So, I don't know how many of you.
I'm sorry, state your
I'm
name and
sorry.
address, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Sorry, Anderson, 204 Grayson Ave, Independence. 24348. So, I'm not sure how many folks saw the kerfluffle in Wythe County about library funding based on an advertisement. I just want to give my support for our library system and remind folks that throwing the baby out with the bathwater is not the best policy. I don't think it's on your radar. I just wanted to come and support our library as a they. And just remind folks that we're all in this community together, and let's keep our resources available. We live in a part of the country that's kind of tough to get by in, and they have valuable resources and help so many people. So let's just keep supporting them and keep open minds. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Next is Mary Nell McPherson.
Hi there. I'm Mary Nell McPherson. I live at 297 Mountain Breeze Lane in Independence. I have been a property owner and regular visitor here for 40 years. And now for 5 years, I have been a full-time year-round tax-paying, busy community volunteer. And I'm grateful for my life in Grayson County. And I'm here to say, in the world of division and deep disagreement on so many things, I want to encourage you all as elected leaders and all of us to be civil, to seek to understand differences of every kind, and not badmouth folks just because they see the world differently than you. That seek to understand rather than to be understood is really important. I think an important thing that has helped me is there are a couple of questions to ask people when you are ready to like badmouth them on Facebook or tell your friends and neighbors never to listen to them because they're idiots. It's like, help me understand the way you see that, because honestly, I see it differently. And it's hard to do that. It's hard to listen when you think the other person is full of it. But you know we're all God's children, and you know that everybody is gifted in different ways. And so I'm trying to model it myself. Just because I disagree with somebody doesn't mean I have to make them a bad guy. I can be for something instead of against something. Now, sometimes clearly it's important to stand against things, but I think people are more likely to listen to all of us if what we say is, here's what I believe and here's why. So I just want to encourage all of us to do that when the world doesn't model that in so many places and ways. And thank you for making our life here a good place.
Thank you, Ms. McPherson. Larissa Venzick.
Keep the microphone short. Larissa Venzi, 405 East Main Street. I'm just here again, like Star, as a library supporter. I was president of our Independence branch for the Friends of the Library for 9 years, and I love our library. And I think the main thing I want to say is to thank you and former supervisors for continuing to fund our library and not being part of the kerfuffle that happened in Wythe County and Facebook or social media or any of that. So it's important to us. I grew up here. I've lived here my whole life, and now I'm taking my son to, story time, and we had a magic show today. That was great. So we all use the library and we love the library. And so really it's more just a thank you for continuing to support such a valuable resource for all of us in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Venzick. Justine Jackson Ricketts.
Yeah, Justine Jackson Ricketts, 217 Little Bighorn Lane in Independence. And it's very similar. I just wanted to say that the library is so important to all of us. Lots of people use it, and we love that it's free and accessible to the community. So thank you for keeping it for us.
Thank you. all I've got. Next item of business is, old business resolution adopting budget for fiscal year 25-26.
Yes, sir. This resolution is to adopt the budget for the County of Grayson for fiscal year starting on July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 26, appropriating funds for all contemplated expenses of the county for the fiscal year in place of levies upon all real estate, personal property, machinery and tools, merchants capital, and all other levies and fees as previously imposed or modified by the board. It is in your packet. We've had, I think, 6 or 7 meetings on the budget at this point. And so this is, as I understand it, it's what the board has requested. And tonight we'll take action on our budget.
Mr. Chair, I would like to make a motion to approve and appropriate fiscal year 26 budget as provided in the budget resolution for a total of 34,709.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So with this, so this is the 4-cent tax. What we're talking about here is 4-cent tax increase.
That's right.
So when we had several meetings, you put cuts up on the board. You said even with these cuts, we've got the 4 cents is with the cut. But what I see here, it looks like some stuff's been put back in. So where's the, and I remember, sit there, we said, we were gonna set the public hearing at 4 cents. We were talking to 2. We were talking about wiggle room. I said, if we get wiggle room, or, government's gonna take it. Not referring to staff, and this is government up here. If you were if the press was at that meeting, I probably remember that conversation. So we're at 4 cents, but we've also put stuff back in that was cut. So my question is, how is that rectified?
So the only item that we placed back in was the ag department, which is 116,000. We got 105. It's 105 or 106 from the jail difference.
I think it was right at 100,000.
Right at 100,000 difference. Difference in what we expected our 26 costs to be from the New River Valley Jail. And so the delta was 10,000, 15,000, which we felt we could reasonably absorb. And so based on conversations with the board, we felt comfortable putting ag department back into our fiscal year 26 budget.
So we put the ag department back in, but we still left out 2 deputies.
We did.
So this board values that more than 2 deputies, I guess.
I would say from the, if I may,
Yes, ma'am.
from the response from the community at the meeting that we held, it seemed pretty apparent, and from all the calls, I don't know if you got any, but my phone rang off the hook.
Yeah.
Probably because a lot of them were from your district. So the sentiment throughout the county was that that line item should not be left out. The sentiment is also, nobody wants to cut deputies. I did see we were able to put 100,000 back towards the law enforcement budget. I was happy to see that. And then I did just want to ask about the 200,000 or 100,000 for emergency operations. Did I mess up my math again, Nikki? I was happy to see it. I just don't know where it came from. Was it from the levy? Because we had talked about possibly earmarking a cent
I don't think that has changed from the last.
from the published.
But I could be wrong.
Emergencies operations, 2,200,000, but 231,000.
I'll have to research it and get back to you
Okay.
on exactly what that difference was.
And everything else looked fine.
Mr. Chair, all due respect, I love you.
Oh, go ahead.
I did receive several phone calls, just as many of you did. And a lot of the phone calls I received was because the headline in the paper, which was very misleading, that we're gonna cut the ag department. People thought we were cutting the ag department at the school. People thought we were cutting Virginia Extension Agent, ag position. So it was very misleading. I understand there was a handful of people here that spoke to that. The big thing, the big takeaway, there was three events that was highlighted by the citizens that department covers: the awards banquet, the ag fair, and the breakfast for the farmers. I think it's a monthly thing. And in talking with the town, they've hired somebody to do three big events and it cost them $10,000 to do it. So I think this is cronyism is what I think it is. I think that and it's at the expense of the taxpayers. And this is the road that we seem to go down time after time. And then when we hit the hard spots and we've got to fund EMS or we got to fund the sheriff's department, then we just gloss over that. And then, we keep funding these other positions that I don't know that the return on investment is benefiting the citizen.
I see value in the Gate Center. I think we heard a strong response from people at our last meeting. I saw Republicans, I saw Democrats, I saw independents up here speaking in support of it. I don't think it's merely just the three events that are sponsored by the Gate Center, but I think it's also the assistance that landowners get in assistance for applying for grants and assistance on farm programs. And also, we take into consideration that 65% of our population is farm families. And they're footing the bill for a good majority of the tax revenue that's collected in this county. So I think when they make their presence known, come to a meeting advocating for the Gate Center, and they have that big of input into our revenue source, then I think we have to pay attention to that. This meeting tonight is just a collaboration between of months of work between constitutional officers, department heads, the county staff. It's not like we're up here arbitrarily coming up with a 4% increase because we think that 4% is just a number that we need to come up with. There's been a lot of compromise. There's been things cut that not everybody in this budget's getting what they want. We talked about the sheriff's office. Yeah, they are at the tip of the spearhead for our public safety and criminal justice in the county, but their $3 million budget that we're going to approve is not all that has to do with criminal justice in this county. We have incarceration of prisoners, which is about $2.2 million. We have juvenile intake services that we fund, counseling services. There's day reporting, the court system itself, which all together totals more than $8 million. So I don't think we can say that we're turning our back to the sheriff's office, because we're not going to fund above and beyond, a couple of positions that the county has been funding for the last couple of years, above and beyond what the state allocates and what the comparable thinks that the county needs. And I think, and we found a lot of support toward $2.5 million that we're going to invest in a radio communication system for our public safety. It's not just for law enforcement, but also for fire and EMS. We also took on the task of providing money for apparatus, which we were initially thought we were going to do it in a rotational type system, but we decided to go ahead and each year split those funds between those EMS agencies. I think we've demonstrated that we're trying our best. And I really don't know where this EMS thing is going to end up going. I mean, we've seen a loss and a reduction in volunteerism in our communities, and it's a product of the times. It's not necessarily the people are not as community minded as they were years ago, but I think it's an issue of people just trying to make ends meet and meeting up with all meeting all the criteria that they have to do training. But the $2.5 billion investment, which is going to start in the West End with the tires that are being constructed, placing county's communication equipment is a big effort. And if we could do more, I think we would, but I know on my part we would. And I believe it's the heart and spirit of this board that we would do whatever we could. When people call 911, which there's another cause that has to do with criminal justice or EMS and fire, they expect somebody to be there. And I think this board has demonstrated an effort to meet them in any way we can.
I'm going to address the ag department. We're not prioritizing that department over the sheriff's office, but when 65% of your revenue comes from open agriculture and forested land, and that uses zero services in this county, that is the only service that the farmers and agriculturalists in this county get to enjoy. Some support, less than 1 penny. So if we were to get rid of the ag department, you're really biting the hand that's feeding you. And I can't stand for that. And without the ag department, we wouldn't pass the budget. I wouldn't. It's, in my opinion, it needs to stay there. So that's all I've got to say. We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Well, before we vote, I want to say one last thing. The sheriff came to 2 board meetings. We were having our budget sessions. The first one, he was advocating a 2-cent tax increase. And the last one, I think he said that he would advocate a 4-cent tax increase, and we could blame him, if I remember him correctly. So he may get the blame, but he's not getting the request he made. I'm ready to vote.
Roll call vote. Mr. Anderson.
No.
Mr. Hatch.
Aye.
Mr. Cornett. No. Ms. Thompson.
Aye.
I'm also aye. Budget passes 3-2. Mr. Next is new business. Mr. Warrior Grayson County Public School Budget Addendum.
Okay, the board looks, they'll have 2 budget amendments from the school board, from the public schools. The first one is requesting the board of supervisors approve the revised budget sent, which they previously sent. They're asking for the general assembly increase the local required effort, and that's in the budget amendment. Equals a total of $57,179. As you know, we approve their budget, and then they get their final numbers after we've already approved their budget. So this is kind of a product of that. We will see that probably next year as well. The numbers change. The second appropriation request is for $260,000. The board approved in this current year, $260,000 dedicated to the CIP. what they've asked is for this board to go ahead and push that $260,000 out of the CIP into their CIP, which is a cash account, and they would like to use that to fund the purchasing of buses. That's what they've asked for. There's two separate documents there. I know we've had a lot of discussion on the CIP, but prior to us,
And that's for this fiscal year.
that's this fiscal year, which is the number
And it was budgeted.
it was budgeted for to go towards the CIP. What my understanding was from the board was if the school would like to utilize that money, that they need to formally request it. And if the board so chose, they could push that money into the school CIP, and then they would have access from the treasurer's office cash account. And they're asking for that now. They're asking for that to purchase school buses.
And that 260 will come off of the 1.8.
Yeah, that's correct.
I guess my concern is school buses CIP. Because I think it was, and this is previous boards, but it was clear direction that we were putting money aside in case they had a leaky roof, busted pipes, not necessarily school buses. I know we just invested in these electric buses. They had to literally drill a hole in 5 perfectly good school buses and dispose of them, diesel buses, gas bus, whatever, to get the electric buses. And now here we are, needing 5 more buses. They want to take money out of CIP. They're designated, what we designated for them as CIP. The next year, if we've got an issue, pipe bust or what have you, it's either going to be a school bus or a pipe fixed or a roof leak or whatever. I don't know. I'm confused.
Anybody else? What do you need? You need this in form of a motion to approve the transfer?
Yes. The budget amendment, 2 budget amendments. Oh, I'm sorry, budget amendment and appropriation request, yep. You can do them together if you want to do them separate.
I think we should do it separate, Mr. Chair, if that's okay. Go ahead.
So the first one would be a budget amendment of $57,179. The second one would be to approve appropriation request of $260,000 for the use of school buses.
I hear a motion.
I move to approve the revised budget of $57,000.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. I'm also aye. Any opposed? Okay, so now you need a second motion for the 260.
Yes, sir. Motion for the appropriation of $260,000.
I hear a motion.
I make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
I'm also aye. All right, board appointments. Good, we get to do that again.
Okay,
That's a new business. Yeah, we amended it.
Yeah, we did amend it.
I just added it to,
We added to the agenda.
I've got it down there.
Does
HB 1902?
Does that count?
No, it's.
We need to vote on the styrofoam, right?
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Okay.
yeah.
Board appointments, we want to go through these real quick. E911's 4-year term. Does that need to be an employee of the county?
That's probably me.
That'd be you? Okay. You willing to serve?
Absolutely.
Let's go through these real quick and then we'll just approve them all at once if that's good with everybody. Emergency Services Coordinator, I guess for now that's you.
That'd be me, sir.
Amelia Bland Waller, anybody know?
I've been unable to reach her or find anyone else to take her place. Do you think could the county reach out to her to see if she'd be willing to serve another term? Just
Okay. PSA Director?
Big Mitch at this time?
oh,
Southwest Virginia Emergency Medical Services Council Board, 3-year term.
Currently, we'll move that to Philip Adams.
Philip Adams. And the Virginia Carolina Water Authority, 4-year term.
Mr. Smith is told to do that as well.
Mitch? All right, with the exception of Amelia Bland Waller, I'd entertain a motion to appoint Steve Boyer, Mitch Smith, and Philip Adams to the so-said boards.
so moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, at this time, we have discussion / intent with the Twin County Airport. Mr. Boyer?
So at our last EDA meeting, the EDA board was under the assumption that the board of supervisors has asked them to take on the requirement of funding the Twin County Airport. And I wasn't aware of that. And I'm not sure if that's the intent of the board or not. If it is, I just need to understand that intent so I can brief them on where the airport is, what the funding gaps are, and if they so choose to fund that. And so during our last EDA discussion, they mentioned that the chair mentioned that he thought it was the board's desire for them to look into funding the Twin County Airport. I'm not sure who said that, to be honest with you.
When we discussed the airport last time, it's my memory, if it's serving correctly, it was if we're going to support the airport, the only reason why we would be for EDA reasons, but I don't remember this board saying put it all on the EDA.
Okay. My question is, we've got 19,000, almost 20,000 in the budget for the airport. And that's our required, because of some debt that was previous boards correct into. And so the question on the table is, do we want the EDA to fund additionally above that?
That'd be great.
Yeah. I'm a no.
I don't think we make any additional,
Okay.
but that's fine.
Is that
I'm in
consensus?
consensus, yeah.
Consensus?
I'm in consensus, right?
I don't think that requires any action.
Doesn't just
Just
need
a
to
discussion and we
understand
came
where
to
the board.
consensus. All right, SWAP discussion.
Okay, so in 2000, so what happened, we've had a couple of landowners come to the county and say, hey, after the hurricane cleaned up my property, the property beside me has not been cleaned up, and the individual has decided not to clean it up. And it's got rats, it's got, you name it, and it stinks really bad. And so I said to Mitch, have we encountered this before? And he said, I think we had a potential program in the past. And so we dug up, Jada actually dug this up, it's called a Solid Waste Assistance Program. If you take a minute to read it, it says the S.W.A.P, this was from December 2011, will assist landowners with large solid waste issues. The program is sponsored by us and facilitated by Public Works, Building Department, Planning and Community Development. And here are the goals: remediation of large-scale solid waste, prevention of code violations, disposal of solid waste, improve aesthetics of the community. And it gives you how the program works. We'll come out one time, clean up your property at no charge. Now, I guess from a philosophical, we all know where the budget is. I don't know how many of these projects we could take on. I guess there's other options as well that we can explore. Jada had told us after the hurricane, we're going to encounter this. We're going to encounter this situation where we have river lot owners, particularly Lot A is cleaned up, it's mowed, it's perfect, it's back away. Lot B, they're just never going to touch that again. They don't leave that. And so what do we want to do with that? And I guess from a philosophical standpoint, I want to understand what the board wants. We can explore options of sending the homeowner or landowner a request, please pick it up. If not, the county will take action and then charge you and place it on your tax bill. We can do something like that. Or do we want to offer a service as a one-time? We have a budget for it, so we would have to eat it. And there would probably be a limit to that of what we could do.
What authority do we have to take action when someone don't clean their brush up?
I don't know that yet. I don't know that.
Can we check with Mr. Durbin to see if we can require, I know in Allegheny County, North Carolina and Sparta, they'll clean it up and send you a bill.
Yeah, I've been told other counties are taking that action. I sent Steve a request to take a look at this and tell me what he thinks, and tell us what our options are from a legal standpoint. Of course, Steve's swamped all the time, but I wanted to get your thought. Do you want to go down this road of looking at this from an authority issue and from a resource issue? If you do, we will. And we'll get back to you. If you're not interested, then we'll, punt to go to the next project, I'd say. That sounds good.
You might check also the city guidelines.
Yeah.
Nuisance abatement within the city, so.
Yeah.
They've got maintenance, what they call maintenance policy, that would, maybe we check. Grass, that's all.
Go ahead.
I have when I was at the town council last many months ago, they have a nuisance abatement program as well. So, and it's in the code basically where a municipal corporation may compel the abatement or removal of all nuisances, including but not limited to the removal of weeds from private and public property, snow from sidewalks, covering of or removal of offensive, unwholesome, unsanitary, or unhealthy substances.
That would require us to adopt an ordinance in the county, correct? And that would require public hearing and.
That's correct.
Yeah, like I said, personnel, one person signs it, that's all they do.
So, are you talking about just river lots, or are you talking about all over the county? Because that's a whole different can of worms.
It is. It is. It just started with river lots. That's the only complaints that we've had at this point.
And in 2011, it was an application process. Was that, do you remember who handled those applications
And I think she got maybe 2 or 3.
and had to go see them to see if they were appropriate for?
Remember off, I think, when I asked her, she remembers taking care of 2 or 3 applications.
Sounds like that can be a big burden for that office,
It could snow.
but
I'm concerned that could be a slippery slope
Yeah.
because, we go through this year and we're picking winners and losers, and then we come up at the end of the year and our budget in public works goes way over. So, and everybody's paying for certain people's trash pickup. I'm just not a fan of this as a general premise right now, personally.
From a cost perspective, obviously, we would have, if we did this at anything than some small scale, we would have to charge the homeowners, or landowners, or homeowners for this. We couldn't absorb this type of work. And we're not the staff. Now, we have some equipment that we could help out with this. We certainly try to do small things, but these are some larger issues. And of course,
In the river lots, are paying half the trash fee already.
I don't see our guys being able to do some of these messes.
I said the other day, you feel like you're doing a lot of job to pick up all of your lots.
Large item.
In my experience, a lot of the nuisance abatement was actually contracted out to private businesses that are in that business.
That was Pulaski.
The county can afford to do this.
again, we would have to put the cost back to the landowner.
When we were shortly after, we had an exceptional event happen that we still have.
Sure.
We still have damage, but when we started cleaning out right after the hurricane, there was talk of being able to get National Guard to come in and help us on their weekends. I don't know that that's not the route we go to clean up, because we don't want our river to be nasty, but the county can't afford to clean up the disaster that was given to us.
If the governor and lieutenant governor pledged help in September, October, the problem hadn't gone away. We need to stay on them to give us some help.
There's islands,
What's everybody looking at me?
there's islands along Riverside Drive that, I mean, out in the river near the
Well, I
farmer's
don't-
camp that are still piled with, I mean, you know, let's not.
Oh, I know.
I'm not thinking we would have access to that when I get in the river.
Now, there's a crew coming in the river, correct?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
We are waiting for appropriated dollars to get that. We're hoping 53 sites or 60 sites have been identified.
I think you may be referring to that, what was in the paper the other day, besides the EWP, a group coming in.
Yeah,
I don't know that.
well, I was talking about them
EWP.
bringing the big machines in the river like they did in Ash.
I thought you were talking about the
State of North Carolina, is working with Grayson, State of Virginia.
Okay, well, sound like we don't have much else to talk about that.
Okay.
HB 1902,
This is new. Kelly just sent this a couple days ago. I sent it to them on the 20th. I sent it to the school on the 28th. In 21, the Virginia General Assembly passed HB 1902, which bans the use of expanded polystyrene food vendors. And this is commonly referred to as the Virginia Styrofoam ban. Department of Education picked this up, and it is effective date is July 2025. There's an exception to this, and in the exception it says the locality may grant exemption if there's no reasonable alternative to EBS food, or if it would cause significant economic hardship to the food vendor. Pushed it to Kelly on the 28th, and his staff came back and asked for a 1-year exception to this. And it just says the purpose of the letter is to request an exemption to the Virginia ban on expanded polystyrene. Grayson County Schools has been exploring and testing products that meet this ban. We are not prepared at this time to start using a substitute to styrofoam. We've not found a reasonable alternative to the products we're currently using in compliance would cause significant economic hardship to our food service program. Additionally, we do have some styrofoam in stock, and we need to use that before making the transition. So the only way to grant the exemption is for the board to grant that for the school, and then they would file to the Department of Education.
I'll make a motion that we grant that extension. The way I read it's 1 year.
That's correct.
This is an absolutely ridiculous ban that the state is.
well, hang on, make the motion and then we'll get on the discussion.
Well, I'll make a motion
Is there a
that
second?
we grant him the extension for 1 year.
Have a motion and second, any discussion?
Absolutely ridiculous ban on styrofoam next to these straws. I mean, we're facing some tough times. I'm done with you.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm also aye. We don't have a county administrator's report. We have our informational items, our board of supervisor time. We have entered into closed session, so at this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So,
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Thank you.
That would be fun.